No chai for
It's
you.
just bottled rage from years.
So there's, it's not really, I don't really recommend this Vietnamese place. It was just kind of rude. Like, what am I, back in Brooklyn?
Well, that's authentic Vietnamese, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, it's like eating with your grandma.
And
She's yelling at you.
I said, the first time I ordered it, I was in a hurry, and I said, can I get the pho to go? And she goes, I don't think so. But you said yes or no. I was like, it's difficult. Okay, can I help?
Difficult.
It's difficult. So,
She say that in English or Japanese?
In English.
In English. She say this to you in English. Maybe when she speaks Japanese, she's like super polite and like,
I
"Moshiwake arimasen ga," you know, like giving you this. And in English, she's like, "Yo, sit down, American."
Her Japanese
Yankee pig dog, sit down.
Her Japanese would be rude too. It'd be like, "Itarashai, itarashai, so
They don't have. They don't have Orangina. They serve Agent Orange.
Agent Orangina. So do you guys have Sprite? I don't think so. It's difficult. You don't have it? It's difficult.
Difficult.
I think you want to order something different.
Difficult.
It's like a cross between South Park and a soup Nazi.
It's funny because you know, what is it they say?
They kill Kenny. They kill Charlie.
They kill
Charlie.
Sure.
All right, so Vietnamese, hashtag Vietnamese too. Right, the mic.
We profoundly apologize to the Vietnamese people.
If you actually knew more Vietnamese people, you'd get these jokes because they actually deserve it.
So what would you say then? Let's just to give an example, because when you're in like parts of China, the Cantonese parts of China, like you're in Shanghai and places like this, and Hong Kong, it's they talk very forcefully as well, right? Like, so what would you say would be the Vietnamese? What's the Vietnamese twist? Obviously, I know the languages are different, the tones are different, but were they yelling more in your face, or are they more yelling at yours?
Well, like Shanghai is actually still pretty Mandarin. It's kind of a dialect of Mandarin, but Cantong, the
you're right. That's Cantonese. You're right. That's not
Cantonese,
right.
and there's the Guangzhou province or something. All of that.
Yeah.
Apparently, Vietnamese,
they yell too.
You got to be careful with describing languages. I had a lot of hate mail because I said compared to Japanese and Chinese, spoken Korean would be easier to learn because it's a logical language. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. It's a logical language. It's easy to learn it in a couple of days. Hangul is actually very fun. Very fun. And it's logical. It makes sense. And now all you've got to do is learn the nuances between the p and the b and the ch.
Is it Busan or Busan?
Yeah. And so I had an article where I passed level 4 over here in Korean, and they asked me to compare these three languages. So I said, well, Japanese has, the hardest thing with Japanese is learning to read onyomi and the kunyomi, and the rules don't always go because sometimes they'll have an on and a kun together.
Yeah.
And so you can look these up, what this means. And I said, with Chinese, every thought and every word is a different kanji or a different combination of kanji. And you've got the tones. In Korea, you don't have the tones, and then you don't have the kanji anymore.
They have an alphabet.
Yeah, they don't do the kanji anymore. But I got all this hate mail from Koreans saying, you don't know, you think we're stupid. You don't know, it's not easy. And I said, that doesn't mean anything.
Wow, we got hate mail for this podcast?
No, this is for a blog I did.
I see.
And people go, yeah.
Well, we're going to get hate mail now.
Mike Miller.
No, I lived in Korea. I'm with you, Korean people. I like Korean.
They would write in and say, I'm native Korean speaker, and I was reading your article on how to learn Korean. Why are you reading how to learn Korean if you're a native? I believe you're a native Korean speaker. I believe you.
Yeah.
Why are you reading my article?
I don't know, because there's this kind of defense system the Koreans have. They're always like on the lookout for criticism or anything like that. And when you say anything negative, there's these small group of like ultra nationalists who will jump on you. But to say that, to be fair, in Japan, it's the same thing. If you're online and you say something like about comfort women, put something about comfort women on Twitter, and 5 minutes later, you're going to get like 20 replies from 20 different nationalists telling you, oh, you're wrong. But there's these radical groups. There's a group in Korea that actually follows foreigners around. Did you know that? This guy, he started the group, and he said, we're concerned about foreigners. So these guys have this vigilante group online. They literally, like, follow people and then report their movements.
There's a British guy who does this in China, and he said he has people following him around that are trolling him on the internet.
Oh, really?
They put a death threat on him.
Oh, wow.
Because he said something disgraceful about Chinese women. Yeah. And he's married to a Chinese girl.
Yeah.
And he just told stories about her family. And they said, you will die for disgracing China.
Wow.
So, I think China's doing okay. like 1.6 billion people. I don't think Chinese is going to be obsolete. He does all these really brave things about China. He does a lot of good stuff about, like, scams in China.
Yeah.
And he's walking around. While he was doing it, his camera got stolen as he was doing it.
Wow. Nice.
This guy has people following him around. I'm not going to play his thing. But
Serpensa?
his name is Serpensa. What was his real name? I don't think he gives his real name out anymore.
Yeah, that's a wise thing.
People trolling him in China. So yeah, it's not just Korea. Something about the Asians is like, we got a piece of land, now we go make it best.
Yeah.
Now, from now on, we have only 4 seasons. So now everyone come here, you brag, we have 4 seasons. Yeah, but China has 4 seasons.
Yeah.
No, talk about China. They are enemy. They are opposite of Korea.
Everybody hates everybody else. It's amazing. It's amazing.
But
most people don't. Most people don't care. It's just a very small group of people who are offended by everything, and especially if you're a foreigner saying something about their country that they don't think, even if it's the truth. For example, there was a guy in Japan who used to translate those columns from the Japanese weekly magazines, and the weekly magazines here, they have all of these scandalous kind of articles about, sex and drugs and all these goings on, and all he was doing was translating what was in these magazines.
Right.
And then they came after him and said, "How dare you? You're damaging our reputation of Japan." And they basically forced him to shut down his website and almost tried to kick him out of the country just because he was translating what was already being reported in the vernacular press.
The author of Crayon Shin-chan, he had a death threat one time when he did Crayon Shin-chan, by the way, if you don't know, it's a great cartoon. Mm-hmm. If you're learning Japanese, it's very cynical. It's kind of the Simpsons of Japan. And Crayon Shin-chan is just a little brat. He's looking up skirts, and he's just mischievous. He's kind of a cross between South Park, before South Park existed, but after The Simpsons. And the author got a death threat because he did one episode where it's called Crayon Shin-chan Learns to Read. Mm-hmm. And actually, my son, when he was 4, talked exactly like Crayon Shin-chan when he spoke Japanese. Like, this is the 90s Crayon Shin-chan. Mm-hmm. Now he has a different girl's voice. It's a girl's voice, a woman. And back then was a woman, too, but... Mm-hmm. The original 90s Crayon Shin-chan was much funnier because it was just like, Oishii yo misae. Calls his mom misae. And he's like, Yori yato ni dekita ne, misae. So you finally learn how to cook right, misae. She's like, how many times I got to tell you I'm mom? He's like, that's your story, And so he talks like that, kind of a, we say in Japanese, niktarashi, kind of a vindictive tone of voice for a little kid. Mm-hmm. So the episode that he got sued on was... Crayon Shin-chan learns to read. So his mom takes him on a train. She goes, okay, Crayon Shin-chan, you just look out the window and you just read what you see. He goes, biru, sake, herusu. Okay, that's enough. So health is the term they use for these kind of soap lands and health and this
brothels.
Mike was telling
brothels.
me. You're telling me what this is? Kind of brothels.
Yeah, right. Like I would know anything about that.
Brothels, as if we are allowed in. Apparently, the times are getting, economy's getting
times
better.
Are tough.
They're actually letting us in now.
Who was it? I had a friend who was like, when he first came to Japan, they shunned him, and then a little while later, they were like asking, "Hey, come in," and he's like, "Screw you, people! You wouldn't let me in 5 years ago. I'm not coming into your crappy establishment."
At first, they wouldn't let in the lepers, but I didn't care because I wasn't a leper, and then they wouldn't let in the Jews, and I didn't care because nobody knew I was Jewish. And then they wouldn't let in the gays, and I didn't care. And now nobody wants to go into the soaplands. And they're like, hey, we pay you. We do you, we pay you. But so he's reading this off, and he's reading like Herusu, and he's reading Garuzu, nude dog Garuzu, nude girls, and finally the mom just pulls the shutter down and says, no more reading for you, Grace. And he got death threats from the Uyoku Black Van guys.
Oh, really?
Saying you're portraying Japan in a bad light. And the author said, to my credit, I actually saw kids reading this on the train. Kids actually see this.
Yes.
I'm not putting the signs up. I'm making commentary.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you want to criticize countries, criticize other countries. Don't criticize your own. Well, what better country to criticize than your own?
I don't know. It's crazy that some people they're really like, well, even with the Black Van crowd over here. I heard them recently after the typhoon, man. The typhoon ended. They just revved up those black vans around the streets. It's like, what are they gonna do? They can blame foreigners for the typhoon, or I don't know. What's the deal?
God, Kenji, we got a lot of work to do. It's been 16 hours. We haven't been able to spread racism. we got to drive fast today. Put that da da da. I think we had that music on one of the podcasts. We got to put it on fast speed.
It's like the best greatest hits of like 1932 or something. I mean, they haven't made any more. Have they come up with any new catchy tunes? Like, they need an idol group or something, like Black Van 32, or I don't know, like Uyoku 48 to sell nationalism.
Any hate mail to Mike Miller? See you next week.